a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching Supacell on Netflix, My Lady Jane on Prime Video, WondLa on Apple TV Plus, and Land of Women on Apple TV Plus.
So stay tuned to the end to find out which European countryside town BJ would disappear to.
I might need some advice from you, but we can wait until the end. In the meantime, how about we head to South London?
You're talking about Supacell on Netflix. In South London, a group of normal people suddenly develop superpowers, and the only apparent connection between them is that they're all black. As they deal with the impact of their powers on their daily lives, one man must bring them together. And in this first episode, we focus on delivery driver Michael, played by Tosin Cole. He has the ability to travel space and time.
So how about we start with the most exciting element? We see some really cool superpowers in this show.
Yes. My critique of the show is I think it took a little too long for us to get to the powers. Mm-hmm. But when we did, it was a great payoff. A very exciting display from each person. And it made me curious, like, which powers would BJ be interested in? Which ones seem the most fun? You know, it gets you going.
Exactly. And I like how we see our main cast stumble and discover their powers. And they're just doing their normal day-to-day lives. And we see how that gets incorporated in. And there's a bigger mystery that we get some hints to, that people are looking for Black people with superpowers.
There are missing Black people. There's a secret center or something going on. And there's cells of people with superpowers in them who are all Black. I wonder what's going on. It's very intriguing. Though I will say, very big cast.
Lots of people to introduce in this pilot episode. I think they do a good job giving us a sense of everyone's backstory and motivations, but it was a long pilot.
Very long, nearly an hour. I think they would have benefited from almost exclusively focusing on Michael and maybe just giving us hints of the other people. But I think they did do a good job of building care. The few minutes we got with each character made me interested in each character. We meet someone who's having trouble making ends meet, having trouble finding a job, and I genuinely felt heartbreak for him as he encountered challenge after challenge. We saw one character try to figure out how to sell drugs, and it made me laugh so much because it is, if you tasked me with selling drugs, like, he was just walking up to people on the sidewalk being like, excuse me, could I possibly interest you in weed? Like, he just didn't have a great selling point. And then we had another character who found out her boyfriend was maybe not the greatest, and I had a lot of care around that. And then, of course, we have Michael's love story, which made my heart just swell up. I felt so much happiness for him and his love, and even more for the stakes of the show as we see how wrapped up he is personally in figuring out how to navigate his powers to change the future, potentially. I'm trying not to give away spoilers, but there are some juicy reveals in those last couple minutes. So I think they did do a good job of building care. And if you're introducing 27,000 people in your pilot, this is how you do it. I just don't think you need to introduce 27,000 people in your pilot.
Fully agree. Unnecessary. And I like those emotional connections, especially when it was about each of these people's relationships, whether it's their partner, their children, their sister, their gang, their friends, their grandmother. Everyone had someone important in their life, and we got to see that highlighted, and we got to see challenges regarding those relationships. And I think that helped build those connections, which also could have been done over multiple episodes. I'm thinking of a show like Heroes, which would dedicate entire episodes to individual superheroes. So this series could have done like 2 to 3 people per episode.
Yes, because the episode titles, or at least from what I could see, were names of the people who get powers. So I thought we would really focus on some of the people who got powers, but that ended up not being the case.
I did not pick up on that detail. Very deceptive.
Right?
Before we wrap up, what do you think about the future of this series? Because at the end, we get some hints at where this story is going.
I'm very intrigued. I know I'm fully giving away my rating, but I do think they did a good job in the characters for me. And to your point, getting to see their relationships, all of their different tethers in this world. So it makes the stakes of this, maybe we need them to be superheroes future, all the more high pressure. And so I really want to see how they navigate that. I really, really want to know what happens and where these missing Black people are, what's happening to them, how are these powers manifesting in people? Because it also seems like everyone's having a super regular Tuesday and then suddenly their eyes glow and they can run really fast or have super strength or travel space and time.
Which is always a dangerous power to have, storytelling wise and just in the context of the story.
Yes, unless you're a Star Trek writer, then time travel is super casual.
Well, that's also in a future where money and famine and all that stuff doesn't exist anymore.
That's true. They've resolved everything.
So, Mitu, will you watch more episodes of Supacell on Netflix?
Yes, 100%. I'm not even necessarily a fantasy or sci-fi person, but if you are not fantasy or sci-fi hive like me, but you just really love a character-driven story and you want to see people win who are very sympathetic characters, then I think you would be interested in this show. So I plan to watch again seriously. I really want to know where this goes. And it's only 6 episodes.
I agree. I think this story is worth checking out. I would put it at would watch again casually. I'll slowly work my way through because these are long episodes, but they are enjoyable.
Okay, so why don't you take us from the present future to the reimagined past?
You're talking about My Lady Jane on Prime Video. This British historical fantasy series adapts Cynthia Hand's novel. In the 16th century, Lady Jane Grey is coerced by her family to marry Lord Guilford Dudley, and Jane, as cousin to Edward VI, is in line to the throne. But in this version of England, Lady Jane is plagued by Ethians, humans who can take animal forms. And the ordinary humans, known as the Verity, drive the Ethians out of society. What do you think of this spin on history?
I thought that our lead was very likable. Emily Bader did that in building care for me in this character. I am not necessarily a period piece person, but I was very intrigued by Lady Jane Grey. And I thought it was really funny, especially because of the narration.
Yes, I agree. I think Jane Grey as our lead was really helpful in pulling us in. She's a likable character. She has interesting tension between fitting into British society of that time, needing to marry to secure wealth for her sisters and mother, but also being progressive. She wants to study medicinal plants. She's very casual friends with the king, and she doesn't want to get married. So seeing her balance all of that was fun. And there's the added twist of magical powers.
I thought that added a really fun edge. Again, I am not period piece hive. I think if you're period piece hive, if you're historical fiction, historical romance, fantastical historical romance hive, this show is absolutely for you. I thought the Ethians made it really fascinating, and it made me sit up as I watched. This added element of there are these people that turn into animals and vice versa, because we also had some animals reveal themselves to be people. And I like that we don't know if they're actually bad or if they're just different.
I think it's pretty clear that they're not bad people. There's just fear of people who are different that's driving them away. I will say they did bring my attention to the show, which was helpful. And you mentioned this, that it's a very exaggerated and over the top take of British history. And I think why not add in that fantastical element to really push it even further over the top and make it fun?
I agree, Beach. I love the exaggerated elements of the show. I think that it's over the top also in a way that brings you in. It feels very Bridgerton in that sense of it's very silly. It is overacted, not in a way of like, ugh, these people are overacting, but rather it is supposed to feel almost like a soap opera meets historical retelling. And so that also made it very fun and bright for me.
And I feel like we have a nice cast. Everyone is doing a great job, even though Lady Jane Grey is the lead and the main source of all of these stories and plot points. I do like the supporting cast. We get to meet her fiance, Lord Guilford Dudley, played by Edward Bluemel. I think he has a fun twist on what you expect of him and how he's going to interact with Jane. The King Edward VI, played by Jordan Peters. I also really loved his friendship with Jane. Like their bond and back and forth was also really sweet, even if he isn't as supportive of her not getting married, which fits his role.
It fits his role. He was like, I don't want to be king. You see how much every day annoys me and you don't want to get married. But look, you're a woman. I'm a king. We just have to do what we have to do. I really liked King Edward. I really liked that character, and I thought they built great mystery around him, even in just a few scenes. And then I loved the potential love or lust story, not sure yet what it looks like for our Lady Jane Grey.
She's got options.
She's got options, that's true.
And you have the option of watching more episodes of My Lady Jane on Prime Video, so will you?
I will. I'm not Period Piece Hive, and if you are not Period Piece Hive, I think this will still be fun for you, and I encourage you to at least try the pilot. Check out the first episode, because it was very funny and so over the top and so silly. I think if you are Period Piece Hive, if you are in the hives of the genres we've mentioned of historical fiction and fantastical romance and fiction, I think you'll really, really like this. For me, I will watch again casually.
Ooh, bringing back our try the pilot recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I like the show better than you, but I would actually rate it would watch while cooking or eating lunch. So a little less than casual. I think this is a show that I wouldn't give 100% of my attention, but because it's so exaggerated, I'm not really here to see this alternate take on history, more just what crazy fun stuff is gonna happen to Jane.
You've shenaned once, and you'll shenan again.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
All right. Why don't we take things from the historical, fictional past to the spooky, ooky future?
You're talking about WondLa on Apple TV Plus. This is an animated sci-fi fantasy series based on the WondLa books by Tony DiTerlizzi. WondLa centers around Eva, voiced by Janine Mason, who's a curious and spirited child to teenager who is raised in a state-of-the-art underground bunker by a robotic caretaker named Mother, voiced by Terry Hatcher. So Mitu, what did you think of this sci-fi animated series?
This was so good. It was so unsettling because we see the world through Eva's eyes. And so Eva is excited for every day, and she refers to this robot as Mother, not realizing that you do not get to be with your mom. You are now with this robot who's just named herself Mother for you. And the juxtaposition of the very bright and childlike animated show through which she views the world, especially in the first half before the character ages up, is so stark against the actual bleak reality of a child isolated in a bunker with a robot. There's a part where she essentially enters like a training program to figure out if she is strong enough or ready enough to be in the above ground world. And the characters that help her train genuinely look like Bluey characters. And it is so creepy to be like, you know, just follow the yellow brick road and then maybe you'll get to see other humans and, I don't know, be reunited with your family. Like, what sad stakes for a child. But then it's so bright and bubbly because we're seeing it through Eva's eyes and she doesn't know anything else. She doesn't know to think of this as messed up.
Yeah, I think that's the important part is this is all she knows. We learn a little bit more of why she's in this situation and how things may have been intended to go for her. But it is very creepy to see her in this very sterile, white environment. It's giving zombie apocalypse. We've sealed things off. It reminds me a lot of those post-apocalyptic teen young adult novels like Hunger Games, The Maze Runner. Like, we're going to lock you in this place and test you, and you can escape if you succeed.
Like, yikes.
But it might end well. She got a cute robot. It's giving Pixar WALL-E as well. And Big Hero 6. Mother is so supportive.
It's giving child labor, child abuse, child isolation.
She's the only child. Does it still count? If there are no other children, is it still child labor?
Yes.
Anyway, I will also say they set up a really good mystery. Eva learns some more towards the second half of the episode, and I think that sets things up really well for where this show can go outside of just her training situations.
Yes, especially those last few minutes. I was very intrigued to learn what happened next. The action is terrifying. There's an action sequence in the show that's really, really good. And just the animation is high quality. Apple TV be having budget for these programs.
They paid those animators hopefully well because the animators are Pixar, Disney, Illumination level. It looks so good.
It looked so good. And that was why I was on the edge of my seat through the last few minutes.
You got sucked in.
Yes. So with that, can we get into ratings for WondLa on Apple TV Plus?
Yes. What do you think?
I would watch again while having lunch. This is a show, perfect amount of time, under 25 minutes, where I can sit down and while I'm enjoying my meal, I can watch this child try to survive this world. Because I have to know if she makes it.
I agree. This is a story that I want to know the ending to. There's also the book series as well. I would put this at would watch again casually. It looks beautiful. I love the action. And I want to see, literally see more of the world that she lives in.
Nice.
Okay, so how about we go from a sci-fi series to thriller with some comedy and family love. A real family.
Thriller is questionable. Real family is a devastating thing to say. Shout out Eva. You're talking about Land of Women on Apple TV Plus. Adapted from Sandra Barneda's best-selling novel, this show follows socialite Gala, played by Eva Longoria, who is forced to flee to a Spanish wine town with her mother Julia, played by Carmen Maura, and daughter Kate, played by Victoria Bazua. She confronts living in a small town, deep family secrets, and a pair of bumbling hitmen.
So, Mitu, you have set up the premise really well for us. I would like you to share, if you don't mind, with the listeners how you described this as a mashup of some of your favorite genres.
This is women's fiction. This is first of the month Amazon Prime Reads selections. This is, I'm on a beach, I'm reaching for a book. This is the plot of what I'd be reading. Because this combines so many of my favorite wealthy women in distress storylines. First, I love the genre of book and show and movie where a wealthy woman finds herself isolated from her husband. Maybe he's been kidnapped. Maybe he's run away. We don't know what he's done. But she goes, where's my money? What has this guy been doing with this business? She learns things have not been on the up and up. Maybe there's some physical danger element as well. She pawns jewelry. She tries to gather whatever cash she can, and she has to take her kid or her sibling or her parent, in this case, it's her child and her parent, and go on the run. Absolutely love that genre of storytelling. Another genre of storytelling that I'm obsessed with. Intergenerational relationships between women. We're talking Georgia Rule. We're talking Because I Said So. We're talking Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. Absolutely love where one sister is beefing with one sister, one is beefing with the mom, one has a great relationship with the mom. In this case, Julia seems to have a great relationship with Kate. Gayla seems to have fraught relationships with both Julia and Kate. So it's very 2 versus 1. Love that. And then the other genre that I am getting a taste of right now, Under the Tuscan Sun, Eat, Pray, Love. We have a woman who faces a difficult thing and then goes to European countryside, travels internationally, discovers a different way of life from the hustle and bustle to which she is accustomed, and finds a hot man or a potential love interest.
Wow. You described so much. And I will say it's not overwhelming, the plot of Land of Women, how they've meshed all of those storylines and genres. I will say I also really like the intergenerational relationship aspect because there are some really sweet family bonding moments. There's definitely some fighting as well, but it's fun to see how Gayla is trying to protect her family by hiding information and how that can create more conflict. But then they're all in it together. After a certain point, when so much chaos happens, you either break apart or you join hands and say, we'll get through this together.
You sink or swim. And they chose to swim, literally
Smart.
and metaphorically, in this episode.
I would say that's the right decision.
Yeah, they adjusted to the bad news of why they were in the European countryside. I would say maybe oddly well. They were like, all right, time for us to lock in. But what else do you do when you receive news like that? You figure it out.
You have to. And I will say part of that is because the grandmother, Julia, has some big secrets regarding this small European town that they've gone to that helps distract from the money issues that have actually sent them to this place.
Yes, there were multiple times where I genuinely forgot why they were there because I just wanted the juice on Julia and her relationship with this town and her relationship with her sister, another woman in this intergenerational storytelling.
Oh, right. Bring in the, I guess, great aunt, sister. So many more relationships to explore.
Female relationships. My favorite.
And they all tie to a home, which falls into the rom-com Hallmark movie aspect, as I guess we learn what it's like to run a vineyard.
At what point were you thrilled in this show billed as a thriller?
In the beginning, Gala has a party to celebrate her new wine brand, and 2 bumbling, as you described them off recording, bumbling thugs approach her and say, we know your husband owes us money. So there is like a, thrill. Uh-oh. They're here for the check. There was a slight spoiler, car accident. Ooh, thrilling.
Yeah, so at no point did I feel thrilled, except I was thrilled to be confronted by genres I love. But was I scared? No. And Apple described them in the summary as bumbling hitmen, or wherever I found the summary, on Apple, Wiki, whatever.
Okay. They're officially bumbling.
Yes, they are in an official capacity bumbling hitmen. This is not my narrative take.
Oh, are they hitmen officially? That's thrilling.
I guess. We don't really see them hit.
Yet.
What we do see hit are family secrets.
And sparks between potential lovers, multiple.
Loved that.
So, Mitu, you've made it very clear that this checks off all of your boxes. But will you keep watching? Is this really the perfect mashup of everything you'd want in a show?
100%. If you like these types of fiction stories, if you love a woman on the run with her family, some intergenerational relationship building, those kinds of stories, then this is for you. For me, the way I will watch it, a cozy Sunday. No plans ahead of me, with my favorite blanket, my puppy by my side, and I'll just sit and take down probably several episodes of this in a row.
I just know that that is like the perfect day for you, so I'm very happy for you.
We literally have a holiday coming up here in the US with Independence Day, and I might celebrate my independence as an American by brewing some chamomile tea, wrapping a little blanket around myself, and knocking out several episodes of this show.
While you do that, I think this is a well-made show. It was entertaining. It's not my go-to genre, so it's difficult to rate it, but I would put it at would watch while cooking. It's definitely worth watching. I just don't seek out this type of content.
That's fair. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
True. But I am a fan of Eva Longoria, so it's like, I want to watch.
That's true. She's great, and she's specifically great on this.
She is. Okay, Mitu, I need your expertise to pick a, how did you describe it, small European town?
I have several homes bookmarked in southern Italy.
Okay,
and there's
Italy.
this town selling plots of land, and I think it was Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
So whenever you want to say the word, we can take this from hypothetical exercise to we pull some cash together.
Whoa.
We just disappear and we go under the Tuscan sun with each other.
I don't need my movie moment. I don't need that. But let's bookmark it.
It is bookmarked.
So there we go. Let's be ready. You don't got to get ready if you stay ready.
That's true. And you don't even have to get ready or stay ready if you just want to go right now.
Oh, but it's a weekday when we're recording this. I got work. Gotta go to the grocery store. And our listeners would miss us. So.
Okay. I don't know why owning a home in the European countryside and recording a podcast are mutually exclusive, but I appreciate your boundaries that you're setting with me, and I look forward to when you can just leap over them and go move with me to southern Italy or this town in Switzerland. You could just buy a plot of land on the low, build a nice house. You don't even have to be a citizen.
Well, you've looked into this. I'm impressed. I love that you're ready. And I love that our listeners can find more episodes of the Pilot Podcast on our website, thepilotpodcast.com. And I love that they can follow us on all of their favorite podcast platforms. And they can do that from Italy or Switzerland.
That's true. Shout out to our European listeners. There are a surprising number of you. You can also follow us on social media at The Pilot Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, your bookmarked European villas to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.